I was one of those guys that was saying, psh, why would I buy that? They're just trying to resell it with a new slipcover. Now, as I'm older... Hey guys, how's it going? This is your old pal CHH, back at it with some hard-hitting Friday the 13th content. Maybe not hard-hitting, but if you're like me, you love this stuff, so I'm really excited to talk about this. So, I've covered a lot, and honestly, I really hope there never comes a day where I can't cover the history of home video for Friday the 13th. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Yes, Elm Street's my favorite, but when it comes to collecting, there is nothing more fun than Friday the 13th. There's such this rich history with the series in many, many ways. One of these days I'll get into the magazines, because there were a lot of one-off magazines that were popping up in the 80s where Friday the 13th had showcases, as well as Elm Street, and maybe even better with Elm Street. But we'll get there soon one day. With this video, we're actually going to be tapping into an interesting time with physical media, specifically with Friday the 13th. The question is, when you have a product that you've sold for a number of years and a while, but you still have a lot of stock for said product, well, there's something new coming in. We got to go back to, the late 2000s, rather. DVD is a huge part of home video. Now, Friday the 13th had come out with these at the time. The deluxe edition DVDs, as we know, as well as a collection at the tail end of that. Now, this collection right here was kind of like the bookmark of this whole situation. I'll show it to you guys right here. This is the Friday the 13th collection, which in and of itself is actually a semi-rare piece of physical media. Nobody seems to have this because at this time the Blu-rays had come in for the first 4 films on Blu-ray from Paramount. This is well before a box set. This was actually a year before the box set came out. With all the Friday the 13th films, but this one right here is a box set that, shows off, these movies. And you guys have seen this before, where it has all the killer facts and stuff like that. So during like 2008, 2009, all those DVDs were coming out on the deluxe collector's editions, part 1, 2, 3, 4, up until about part 5, I think were all 2008. Then I believe from part 6, 7, 8, they were all 2009 releases. But if you guys remember, these DVDs were around for a long time. Now, obviously, I'm talking about these right here. This is those releases of Friday the 13th that came out that Paramount had not changed much, especially the artwork. As you can see, we've got what I consider to be probably the greatest image of horror history, at least top 10, the silhouette of Pamela with the campers inside, one of the most iconic images of all time, So they did these DVDs. Now, we did do a video where we covered these, and what did we learn when we covered these? We learned that somehow at part 5, somebody in charge of this stuff decided to just change everything and do a bunch of random arts. But for the first 4, we got these incredible DVDs with the classic artwork. Let's have a look at the disc because we're going to want to see if there's anything different. So here's a good shot of the cover, red banner at the bottom, and here's our disc. Friday the 13th, you'll notice it's got the red for the 13, and you've got the red right there, and all that. So this DVD has a production date of 1999. That's when this DVD was brand new. So when it comes to 8-9 years later, there's still these available. I mean, these had been pressed very heavily. So what do you do to try to sell through old releases of stuff like this? Especially when you've just reintroduced the movies in a new deluxe format. They've remastered the films to a certain extent. They did much better audio for the films. What do? Well, you put a new slipcover on it. Now, this is something that I remembered seeing at FYE and not buying because I was one of those guys that was saying, psh, why would I buy that? They're just trying to resell it with a new slipcover. Now, as I'm older, I love the history of Friday the 13th and physical media, and I understand why they did that. Why wouldn't you try to resell old stock? Now, I do remember the price point for this DVD was a lot cheaper than the deluxe edition Friday the 13th DVD. So here's something I want you guys to feast your eyes on. A lot of you will remember this, and some of you might not have ever seen this before. So, here we go, guys. The 1999 DVD. It needed to be resold to push through old stock in 2008. What do? You put a really shiny slipcover on it with Jason's hockey mask on the front and an image of Friday the 13th silhouette. Look at that. Pretty cool, right? It's one of the better lenticular slips I've ever seen. I mean, you can it really reflects very well, and the fact that you can get a clear, crisp image on it, and I can stop. A lot of times they blend a little bit, and you can't do that. So look at that. That is pretty wicked. I'll give you guys a close-up. I mean, what do you think? Pretty cool, right? Now, I went on eBay and picked this up because, like I said, I did not pick this up when it came out, and I paid $10.99 for this. So what I would recommend doing is, if you're into something like this, go online and look this up and see if you can get it around that price, or check your used DVD stores. I say it all the time. You'd be surprised what's there. Now what we're going to do, which I have waited to do for this video, is we're going to inspect both of these releases. My original 1999 DVD, which I bought from Blockbuster when they went out of business, and the new pickup I have, not the new release, but the new pickup with the lenticular slip. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, wow, it's got Jason's hockey mask on there, but that's okay because it's a foreshadow of what's to come. They still gave us this beautiful image, but all right, so here we go. It looks pretty much identical. I'm going to make sure I have this in the right hand. All right, so this is the one from the slipcover. This is my original copy. They look identical. All right, so let's look at what's in the slipcover one. Okay, so we're good. They are absolutely identical. I was hoping so, but also it would have been really cool if they didn't. I really don't even know why I was hoping so. But let's check the back, make sure they look the same. Again, all right, this is the slipcover one. This is my original one. They look identical. Yeah, absolutely identical. So here's the slipcover one right here. We're going to put that back in there. So this one, like we talked about, has a production date of 1999 on it, but let's look at the slipcover and see what the production date is on the back of the slipcover. And as you'll see, there is a production date of 2008. So that means that this slipcover was produced at the exact same time that the deluxe edition DVD came out, and this was a way to push through old stock. Like, of course, why wouldn't they do this? As you get older, you get a little bit wiser. You're not as cynical and angry about everything. You get it. Hey, they wanted to push through old stock of the DVDs while they're promoting the new version, so let's throw a fresh coat of paint on this. So, pretty cool, right? An interesting piece of Friday the 13th physical media history. So there you have it, guys. That is the hockey mask and the hockey mask and Pamela Voorhees silhouette lenticular slip. Very, very cool. All right, guys, so there's that. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. Now, let's reference back to this release that we just had. Now, with this release, this signified the way that they did when they finished all the deluxe edition DVDs. Now, the Friday the 13th Blu-rays were coming out. They did come out on Blu-ray as a collection, but it was very limited. I'm talking, of course, about the tin box set. But this box set stayed in rotation, albeit in different forms. You know, this is a kind that has a lenticular slip as well with a side loading box, and this one's somewhat akin to a media book. But this, with this cover, basically came out in like a chunky DVD box. And that stayed in print for a number of years. So now let's fast forward to about 2018. What's really big at this time? I'll tell you. Funko Pops. Funko Pops are everywhere. Funko Pops are taking over Toys R Us, which was still open at the time. Funko Pops they're everywhere. There's Funko Pops for everything. I was guilty of getting into them. And honestly, if people are still into them, awesome. You know, everybody's into something. But one of the things that we would see is Funko Pops taking the form of keychains. And keychain Funko Pops were starting to be a super popular thing. You'd see them on the shelves when you go to check out. Well, horror was not immune to getting Funko Pops. And one of the things that was happening around this time was franchise box sets were coming out, which would include Funko Pop keychains. And we have something we together are going to unbox on this video. Here it is. Now, I remembered seeing this at Walmart. Never wanted it because there was no point, but now that time is going on, and luckily these are not expensive whatsoever. I got these very cheap. We're going to be able to open up and see exactly what is in this 8-movie collection Friday the 13th DVD box set with a Jason Voorhees Funko Pop. So let's get a shot of that. Very much cereal box looking. You got the shadow box, which shows your little Jason Funko Pop. Now, the reason I am actually going to open this, as you can see, this box has some damage to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the shrink wrap up, and I am going to keep the DVD case in here, but I'm also going to stuff it to refill out this dent that you can see in this box, because this is history to me. This is a time where the Funko Pop craze was big with Friday the 13th. And let's look at the back. You've got your roster of Part 8, 1 through Part 8. You've got Jason up there overseeing the lake with Alice in the boat. Pretty cool. Has very much a 2010s look. It just does. There's the side. Nothing on the bottom, but there's our front. So if you would go to Walmart at the time, you would see these. You might see a Nightmare on Elm Street, which I did not get either. You might see, I don't think there was a Halloween one, but there were some other non-horror ones. But Friday the 13th was certainly a big one. So what I want to do is open this up, and we're going to look inside and see how this thing looks, exactly what kind of DVD box set we're looking at. Maybe it'll have special art. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But here we go. We're going to take the shrink wrap off together. Like I said, I'm going to stuff this thing to try to... You can see the integrity's lost a little bit right there. All right, guys. So the shrink wrap is off. This is history in the making. All right, so let's take the top off. And let me be very, very delicate with this. It is a little... All right, here we go. All right, guys, so here's what we see inside. As you can see, you can take your Funko Pop out right there. And we'll take the Funko Pop out just so you guys can look at it. I'm going to keep it in this package. I actually have an Elm Street one over there, but here you go. Here's your little Friday the 13th Funko Pop. These were big at the time, guys. They really, really were. You know, what can I say? Now, I feel like the Funko Pop craze has died down a little bit, but even then, I'm not sure. Maybe they're still pretty prominent. And here's our collection in here. This is what I was talking about. Look at this. This is the 1 through 8 collection in a chunky box DVD case. And I believe I have one of these in my collection already, but we will go ahead and take the shrink wrap off of this. All right, guys, so here it is. This is the DVD box with 1 through 8 in a chunky box case. Now, all the discs should be separate, and they are the deluxe edition DVDs, as you can see. There you go, Part 5, separate discs for everything, and there's Part 8 right there on the back. No reversible art, but there is the back. Gives you the listings with all your special features. So this was a popular thing at the time, guys. What can I say? It just you know, it took over, and it was a whole thing. I'll put it to you like that. It was a whole damn thing. This Funko Pop craze. So I'm gonna keep this box now. This is now a part of. I'm sure a lot of these got tossed in the trash, but this is now a part of Friday the 13th history in the Planet CHH dungeon. This will be displayed and kept, and I'm gonna, like I said, kind of fill this in to give it back its integrity. As you can see, we got some damage. That's fine. Doesn't need to be in perfect condition. But this was during a time, and it's the same principle to push through old stock. This is during a time where we were between releases, or new releases, and the Blu-rays had come out. The box set wasn't quite here yet from Scream Factory, and Paramount was trying to push through with gimmicks for releases that they still had in stock. So between the two, let me know which one you like more. I'm pretty partial to this really sick slipcover. But, you know, this speaks for itself. This was also a part of history. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is your old pal CHH, and let me know what you think. I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.